UFC Fight Night. Adesanya versus Imavov is coming up next weekend, man. Today I'm about to give my early predictions on the card. Nothing's official except for about two fights that I did watch film. I actually watched film for three, but two of them are official, my picks, but the rest is still raw. No film, no research, none of that. So yeah, man, I'm gonna hop right into it. So most of the ones that I've already looked at are prelim fights. So this is gonna be one of them. And it is Abdul-Kareem Al-Selwady taking on Bolaji. Now, Abdul-Kareem Al-Selwady went out there on the Contender Series as a big underdog, and he beat former Cage Warriors guy, George Hardwick, right? You've seen him on Twitter probably, or TikTok. I think he's got a TikTok account, something like that. He was a big underdog in that fight. He beat the hell out of George Hardwick. I think he 30-27 him. It was a very impressive performance. And that's kind of the way he fights, is he's got like a high motor. He's got good cardio. He can push the pace. He likes to stay on the outside. He does a good job, keeping his chin tucked. With that being said, he has been knocked out 4 times. Now you see he's 15-4. Every single one of those finishes have been via KO, and most of them are coming from shots that are uppercuts or knees. Last time out versus who is it? Oh my gosh. Loic Radzbov, right. He got knocked out. He got finished. He was doing pretty good in that fight. I thought he lost the first round, but his body language was fucking weird, man. It was really, really weird. He was just getting hit in the first round and just kind of reacting really weird. Comes out, wins the second round, and then gets finished in the third round. He really put a high pace on Loic Radzbov and made him tired. And his game plan really did work. And then he got caught with like a big chaotic overhand right on the temple and kind of went out, but more of like a quit, honestly, to me. No offense or anything, but when you look at him, man, he's a decent striker. He's got a good right overhand, and he actually, like I said, he does do a good job of keeping his chin tucked. He can mix in the wrestling, but what stands out about him to me is his feints. I really do think that he really, really can get you to bite on feints, and that's when he becomes better, because he does initially strike, but he will mix in the wrestling. Now, his wrestling's not crazy. It's not great, but it is pretty good because of his feints and how he, makes you think he's going to go down, and then he'll go the overhand, makes you think he's going to do the overhand, and then he'll shoot a takedown. So mixing it in is good for him. Now, you look at Bolaji. This is short notice for him. Bolaji, very athletic, very fast, explosive. He is a striker. I know he's got some sort of background in striking. I can't exactly remember what it is. I believe it's probably just kickboxing or Muay Thai. But when you look at him, he likes to use his hands for the most part, and he's fast, all right? He's very fast. He's explosive, and he definitely can knock anybody out, right? He just lost to Chris Duncan, where I actually picked Chris Duncan to win via submission. That was a snipe of the year, probably. But I did pick him to win. He lost that fight via guillotine. He was doing really well before he got caught, and he's fast, man. He's explosive. And while I said he does have all these fights in kickboxing and Muay Thai, he's not that polished, right? I do think there's some holes in his striking. And I don't know how this matchup works for him, because Bolaji absolutely has a chance to knock Al-Selwady out, who's been knocked out 4 times. But, Al-Selwady can push that pace, especially towards the end of the fight, and mix in that wrestling, where we've seen Bolaji have some problems. I believe he just got his brown belt in jiu-jitsu, which I saw on Instagram, and he does have good initial sprawls, good, takedown defense. Like, his hips are quick, but he has been taken down. Timmy Kwamba was able to get him down a couple times, and he does run out of gas, and I do firmly believe that if he's in front of someone like Abdul Al-Selwady, he's who's pushing the pace and very active with a lot of volume, he can fade and be broken. Now, this is a fight where, honestly, if you're picking Bolaji, I understand it, and if you think he's going to get a KO, I definitely understand it, because Abdul Al-Selwady has some issues with ducking his head into knees and into uppercuts as well, and I wouldn't doubt that Bolaji could find the mark with that shot, but I just think the safer guy to me, who's going to do more work, mixing the wrestling, put more volume out, I do believe that it will be Abdul Al-Selwady, and he definitely has a chance to go out cold here, but I'm going to trust him to get this one done for the first one. Next up, Hamdy Abdelwahab versus Jamal Pouges. This is an interesting one, and I said that this is one of the ones where I'm like still kind of in the middle between, and I've watched film on both these guys, and when I watch the film, I'm going to be picking Hamdy. But I do want to see what Jamal Pouges comes in at, because as you can see, the dude has come in at 265 every single time. But I checked his Instagram out. He looks like he's working with a lot of the dietitians there at the UFC PI. And when you look at his skill set, he's a black belt in jiu-jitsu. He's pretty good on the ground. He's okay on the feet. He has fast combinations, fast hands. He can kick a little bit, but something about Jamal Pouges, man, if he just doesn't get it going, I don't like him, man. Really, I really don't. He's a guy who doesn't finish fights often. If you look at his past performances, every single one of them is a decision. He's a 2 times guy on the Contender Series, one because he didn't get a finish, and then he comes back and then he gets the contract. So the guy doesn't have a lot of finishing ability, and that does worry me. He's taken on Hamdy, who is coming off a no contest where he popped for roids. And he's a guy who I believe was a wrestling Olympic wrestler or something like that. So he is a good athlete, and that's what I noticed about Hamdy. He's a good athlete. He is pretty good on the feet. I would say his biggest issue is his cardio. He's a little bit fat, but for a fat guy, is a good athlete, and I will say that. But Hamdy, the striking is pretty good. I actually think that he's the more aggressive striker in this fight. Pouges is a guy who sits back there and doesn't throw volume, right? He looks to clinch a lot, and that's the biggest part in this fight. He cannot clinch against Hamdy. Hamdy's trips and his lateral drops and his, clinch wrestling is very good, and he's going to be able to put Pouges on his back. So when a guy like Pouges, who does have good takedown defense, gets to that clinch position, Hamdy's going to outside trip him and take him down, because you saw it in the Dontel Mays fight. He did a fantastic job at doing that. And I do think that Hamdy's going to win this fight. I like him to win. Obviously, I do want to see what Pouges comes in at on the scale, because I do think that a motivated Pouges who wants to throw volume and actually look for the finish is a good fighter, right? I just don't know if he's going to come out like that, and if he's going to be patient where he just doesn't do anything. And if that happens, I think Hamdy is going to be able to do well, especially if Hamdy gets tired, because Pouges has been tired in the past with bad cardio, but Hamdy's is worse to me. And if Hamdy gets tired, is Pouges going to actually press him and throw a lot of volume? I don't know. That's why I can't trust him here. I'm going to go with Hamdy. Probably will be my official pick, but yeah. Next up, Bogdan Grad versus Lucas Alexander. Now, Lucas Alexander's a pretty big underdog here. I believe he's plus 170. I don't get it, okay? Bogdan Grad's 14-2. There's nothing great about him, honestly. He's an aggressive guy. He has some decent pop. He's not that good, okay? His win on the Contender Series, I thought he lost to Michael Aswell. I didn't think he won that fight. It's plain and simple, and this is the last fight that I did watch film on. So I actually will be giving out a bet right here. But Bogdan Grad didn't do... I thought he did. It was a great fight versus Aswell. I didn't think he won. I thought he lost the first, and I thought he lost the third round, but he ended up getting the decision, and he gets signed to the UFC. Now, when you look at him, he is a guy who's he's aggressive on the feet, man. He overextends, but he does hit hard, and he is aggressive, and he likes to come forward, likes to pressure you, and he can mix in the wrestling, which is going to be a problem for Lucas Alexander here. But he's sloppy, man. He is. He can be countered. He got fucking destroyed by Tom Nolan on the Contender Series in the first try. And granted, it was up a weight class, but Bogdan Grad's a big dude. He is a big guy he does have decent submissions, and he does have fast wrestling entries. Now, you're looking at the other side, Lucas Alexander. I like Lucas Alexander, I do, and I'm picking him to win this fight, and I've also bet on him at plus 170. I do like him to win here, man. When you look at him, man, his skill set is great. In terms of his striking, man, the dude's a sniper. He's precise. He has great counters. He's a very, very good striker. Now, if Bogdan Grad doesn't shoot takedowns here, Lucas Alexander is gonna fucking smoke him. I will guarantee you that. Now, if he doesn't shoot takedown, or if he does, then it's gonna make the fight a little bit different. But Lucas Alexander's at a good camp. I like the guys there. He's with Rodolfo Vieira, Phil Rowe, Mike Davis, a lot of good training partners there. And I know he's probably been working on that wrestling and jiu-jitsu, because on the feet, the guy's a problem. Simple as that. He's got really, really good footwork, good ability to move around. He's got nasty counter shots. His kicks are disgusting. His calf kick's good. The dude's a very, very good striker. I absolutely think he's going to put Bogdan Grad out. And Bogdan Grad is a tough dude, durable dude. He got put out cold by Tom Nolan, and it wasn't a good look. And Tom Nolan's a guy who is long, rangy, pretty fast, and Lucas Alexander is fast, okay? And I think, Alexander's coming off a knockout loss to that Jeke dude, which is just the biggest fluke ever, because he was a big favorite to win that fight, and he should have won that fight because he was looking damn good before he got finished. But he got into a grappling scramble, got up and turned his head for 1 second, and Jeke just met him with a big-ass right hook that he was just launched over his head, just closed his eyes. Legit fluke of the year. I mean, Lucas Alexander would smoke that dude. I'd pick him to win every single time versus him, but he got knocked out. Debut was against Joe Anderson Brito. He looked, solid in that fight until he got what Brito does, breaks you with the pressure. I like Lucas Alexander to go out there and win this fight. I think he's going to beat the hell out of Bogdan Grad, who I don't think's that good. Never should he be a minus 200 favorite. Never. Next up, Jasmine Jasudavicius taking on Maria Bueno Silva. Jasudavicius is a big favorite. Bueno Silva looks like she's moving down weight classes, and one thing about Bueno Silva is her gas tank sucks. It really sucks. I should say that again. And I don't watch WMMA that often unless I'm watching film. It's not something that, excites me. It's particular fights, and this one doesn't excite me. I'm just going to pick Jasmine Jasudavicius because Bueno Silva has a horrible gas tank. So I don't know. I'm going with Jasudavicius. Whatever, man. Faraz Ziam versus Mike Davis. This is a very, very interesting fight, man. Mike Davis is a beast. Faraz Ziam definitely just had the best performance of his career. But you go back to some of the performances that Faraz Ziam's had. A little bit iffy, right? He does have a tendency to kind of quit and give up, and I thought Frevola might give him problems with that, but he beat the fucking shit out of Matt Frevola. Beat the hell out of him. And he really, really looked solid, man. I really liked how he looked. But he's taken on Mike Davis, who is only 11-2, has been dealing with a lot of injuries. Mike Davis is a beast, man. He's a great striker. He's a great wrestler. This dude's really, really good. He's really, really solid. This is a fight where I'm definitely going to study a lot because I thought Faraz Ziam looked extremely good in his last performance, and I definitely would not call him a plus 205 here. But, man, Davis is a beast. So I'll probably stick with with the favorite here, Mike Davis, as my early pick. But Ziam's definitely a good fighter and can definitely cause some issues. Next up, Terrance Mckinney versus Damir Hadzovic. Damir Hadzovic is plus 275. I never think Terrance Mckinney should be minus 350 versus anybody. But if he goes out there and wrestles Damir, he should have no issue, right? Damir is some of the worst takedown defense ever. He got fucking smashed by Mark Chakasey, who was an okay wrestler. I would say McKinney's about that kind of wrestler. He's a pretty good wrestler. And I think that McKinney, he should never be minus 350 versus anybody. But in this one, I kind of understand it. Because Hadzovic, while he is a striker, he doesn't possess that much power, especially in his recent fights, man. He hasn't looked that good. He's 38 years old. I think McKinney gets this one done, but it would be stupid if McKinney just didn't shoot takedowns because he'd be giving the chance to Damir, who, could probably knock out McKinney. I mean, McKinney get knocked out by a little kid. Like, the dude just doesn't have durability. So I do think that Damir will get I think that McKinney will get this one done, probably like a rear naked choke or just taking Damir down and beating the hell out of him. That's probably the way he'll do it because Damir has no takedown defense, right? He's just out there trying to slug with you, and McKinney will do that and will entertain that, so there's no way I'd ever bet on McKinney to win. But I am going to pick him to win right now. Next up, bit of an interesting one here. Thomas Petersen versus Shamil Gaziev. I don't think we should count Thomas Petersen out of this fight. Now, I say that because, one, Shamil Gaziev is fat as hell. He is fat as hell. And Thomas Petersen's actually a pretty good wrestler. So what happens if Thomas Petersen puts Shamil Gaziev on his back? Is Gaziev going to be able to get up? Probably not, because he's fat and he's not a good athlete. I mean, he is the better fighter on the feet. Thomas Petersen got destroyed by Jamal Pouges, but he only shot like 2 takedowns in that fight, which I don't understand. If he could put Shamil Gaziev on his back, he could probably have a lot of success here. Gaziev's coming off a win over Dontel Mays, a shitty win. I'm not going to lie to y'all, it's not a good win. I don't think he should be minus 390 here. He is going to be the better striker. He's got good sharp shots, good straight shots, good, good 1-2. He can wrestle himself a little bit. I would definitely say Petersen's the better wrestler. And I don't mind seeing Petersen maybe get this one done. I don't like versus Pouges how he shot that many takedowns. I don't exactly remember how the fight went with Muhammad Usman. I know he won it. I don't exactly remember if he took Usman down or if he outstruck him on the feet. I do believe he outstruck him on the feet. It was a weird fight, and I know I picked Usman to win. But Thomas Petersen, he's not bad on the feet. He is developing. He's only 29 years old. Do I think Gaziev gets it done? Yeah, but I don't think he's a minus 390. That's a little out of hand for me. I'm not a fan of that number. He is in his home territory, and the last time we were here was atrocious. Abu Dhabi, Carlos Leal versus Renat Fakhretdinov. Fucking horrible. So I can't rely on any American to get it done here, or any Latin American to get it done here. I don't know. But I do think that overall Gaziev's skill set is a little bit better than Petersen. He's more well-rounded. And also, if Gaziev puts Petersen on his back, what the hell is Thomas Petersen going to do, right? So it's all about who can, put the fatter guy on the back and hold them there the whole time, pretty much. So I'll go with Shamil Gaziev for this one. And yeah, next up, Muhammad Naimov taking on Kaan Ofli. Does anybody know who this is? I don't know who this guy is, man. He lost to Marian Santos. Bro, who the hell is this dude? Hex? I don't know who this is, guys. I'm sorry. I don't know who this guy is. He's taking on Muhammad Naimov, who's a pretty good fighter. Muhammad Naimov went on a good streak here, where he won 3 in a row. Malarkey, Wood, which was a weird fight, and Eric Silva. And then he lost to Felipe Lima. But he showed the dude can, play the game anywhere you want to go. He can be good on the feet. He can be good on the ground. He's minus 250. I would probably say it should be minus 500 because I don't know who the hell he's fighting. He lost to Marian Santos. Oh, he's a tough guy. Okay. That means I'm probably going to pick Muhammad Naimov to win. I don't watch The Ultimate Fighter, so I have no idea who this dude is. I know who Marian Santos is because he won Ultimate Fighter. I guess this is the dude he beat to win it. I don't know anything about him. He's from Turkey. Naimov's a guy who I know is actually pretty damn good. And this dude's 100th. I don't know why this fight is happening. I think Muhammad Naimov's going to smoke this dude. So, no offense to Kaan Ofli. I'll watch his film. I'll rewatch him. But I don't think he has a chance here because Naimov's actually a good fighter. And this dude is an Ultimate Fighter guy. I don't know how. He's 31 years old. Okay. I'll go with Naimov. I don't know who this guy is. So we'll stick to the Naimov pick. I'm going to go by a finish. Next up, Andre Muniz versus Ikram Aliskerov. Dude, I like Andre Muniz. I think he's fun. I think he's a little sneaky good fighter. He's got good jiu-jitsu. He's good. He's not great on the feet. He's a little bit slow on the feet, but the dude's long as shit. He's 78-inch reach, bro. It's longer than my reach. And I'm, a couple inches taller than this dude. So the dude has a freaky build. Okay, and he's not bad on the feet. He's not good on the feet, but age is catching up to him, and you can kind of see it when he fights. And he is, a guy who is good BJJ, but he can be put on his back, and that's what I expect Ikram to do here. Ikram's obviously coming off the loss to Robert Whittaker, but I don't think this line is good, by the way. I'm going to say that. Beat Warley Alves, knocked him out, and knocked out Phil Hawes. Those aren't wins that just pop off, just say, oh my gosh, this dude's a killer. Right? He did do both of these on the feet, which is semi-impressive because obviously Ikram is a guy who wants to get to the wrestling, wants to get to the grappling side of things, and he can do that in this fight. Obviously he got chinned by Whittaker, but he does have good power in his shots. I do think that Ikram overall is probably going to win this one. I do have to rewatch because I might take a shot on Muniz. You never know. But overall, man, Ikram, good wrestler. Good power in the strikes and got caught by Whittaker. Not a huge deal, but come on, man. The 2 wins he's got in the UFC, Warley Alves and Phil Hawes. I mean, come on, man. Warley Alves is like, I think, an amateur guy could beat Warley Alves, and Phil Hawes, an amateur guy could knock Phil Hawes out with, easily. Amateur flyweight could probably knock Phil Hawes out. But I'm going to go with Ikram to win this one. A good fight here. Said Nurmagomedov taking on Vinicius Oliveira. Vinicius, man. This dude, he's an underdog in this fight. He was an underdog versus Ricky Simone where I smashed him there. Pause. I was all over him to beat Ricky Simone, and he did do that. Now, he's taking on Saeed, who, biggest issue, probably Saeed, is his gas tank. He does tend to fade a little bit. The guy can wrestle. He's got a nasty, nasty guillotine. He's nice on the feet. He's fast as hell. He is going to be the faster guy. Now, is he the bigger guy? Now, is he the stronger guy? Does he hit as hard? Is he chaotic? I don't think so, man. He's going to have to put Vinicius out. And Vinicius, he has been put out before, but the guy is fucking dangerous, man. He's dangerous. I would not be surprised if Saeed shoots takedowns here. I know he doesn't really do that often, but man, while you're on the feet with this dude, man, he's just a monster, right? He doesn't have the best technique. He doesn't have, pop in, counter back, whatever. No. He's coming to take your head off. And he kicks hard. He throws all of his punches hard. He's chaotic as hell. I mean, this win over Bruno Sopai is going to age fantastically. A win over Ricky Simone, a good win. Ricky Simone's a good fighter, right? And I do think that wasn't the best version of Simone, but Vinicius, took him to school, beat his ass, right? And Saeed, he's good, man. He's really good. He's really fast. He's got the cleaner footwork here, and I could definitely see him having success early on, man. I'm gonna stick to my boy Lockdog, man. I want him to get it done really badly. Obviously, man, this is all my picks before doing any research, right? Except for those first 3 fights where I kind of took, I dissected the fights a little bit more, and you see me kind of going faster through them. I apologize for that, because I'm probably going to have to repeat that again. But it is what it is, whatever, man. But Vinicius, man, I like his game, dude. This dude's such a fun fighter to watch. And, I'm going to pick him here. Obviously, man, early picks. I'm just, not fucking around, but just kind of trying to get my mind right here. And I think highly of Vinicius. I think he's a tough fighter to deal with, man. He's tough. He's big as hell for the weight class also. He's explosive. He hits like a truck. Saeed's elusive, man. He's a good fighter for sure, and I'm definitely not saying that this is my official pick, but I am going to go with Vinicius. I like his danger effect here. I like his pressure. I'm going to go with Vinicius. I'm sorry. Next one up, Jairzinho Rozenstruik versus Sergey Pavlovich. Now, this is just a fight where I feel like, Sergey is getting back on track here. We're getting back on track. Now, Rozenstruik, he's come out, he's beat Shamil Gaziev, and he's beat Tai Tuivasa, which was somehow a split. I don't know. Pavlovich is getting back on track here, man. This isn't good, obviously. Lost to Aspinall, no shame. But then losing to Volkov. A bit of a weird one there. And Rozenstruik is a guy who kind of possesses that same skill set of an Alexander Volkov, but he's not as big. He doesn't, he's not as, I don't even want to say he's not as athletic as Volkov. I think we're going to see a renewed Sergey Pavlovich come to the octagon this time out. And I like him here, man. Obviously the guy's a killer on the feet. I mean, he's going to come forward and he's just going to throw hard, throw fast, and he's a beast, man. He hits like a truck. And man, you've seen Jairzinho put in positions like this. The dude has been finished a couple of times here, and he is the more polished guy here, but the faster guy, the more explosive guy, the guy who hits harder. I'm sure he's got a reach advantage in this matchup as well. He does. Dude, 84-inch reach is fucking insane, Pavlovich. That is ridiculous, man. Let me get a build like that. But man, the dude's got to come back and get a win here. I think this is a matchup where he goes out there and beats the hell out of, Jairzinho, because you look at his matchups, obviously Lewis, Tuivasa, these guys are similar, right? These guys are a little bit similar. Jairzinho is similar to those kind of guys, and I do think that the faster guy is going to get this one done. I know Pavlovich is working hard, and Jairzinho is a guy who likes to throw out the jab, throw out the two, doesn't really finish fights. He's not really a killer of a finisher. And Pavlovich knows he's got to get a win here. His back is against the wall. If he wants to be taken serious, he's got to come out here and get a big win. I think he gets this one done first round KO. Love my boy Pavlovich. Love me some Pavlovich. Next up is the co-main. MVP taking on Shara Magomedov. What a sick fight. What a sick fight. It's a tough fight, man. It's always tough to pick against MVP unless he's in front of a grappler, right? And he's not in front of a grappler this time, but he is in front of a guy who is fast as hell. Magomedov is fast as hell, and they do kind of have a similar, style, because both of them are light on the feet, right? On the ball of their feet. But one guy is different with that. MVP is very different with that. He is, so fast with his blitzes, and he just seems to find the mark on everybody, man. I don't understand how. I don't get it, man. The guy just seems to be able to land on anybody. Any striker you put in front of him, he's going to be able to do well, and he's going to be able to have a good matchup. It's so hard for me to pick against MVP, but Magomedov, I do feel like, while he's not the guy who hits as hard, in my opinion, I don't think he hits as hard. He doesn't have as much finishing ability. I don't know, man. I think, MVP, when you're looking at him, he is low volume. There's no doubt about it, but it's for good reason, because you can't hit him, right? And I think Shara Magomedov is going to be able to find the mark with the kicks, and with like the side kicks, right? Because he is a guy who has those kind of side kicks, and I think that's going to be the strikes that are able to hit MVP, especially when MVP tries to come inside and do that blitz. I feel like, Magomedov's going to be able to drop a side kick on him, right? I don't know, man. It's a tough fight, and obviously you see Shara is the favorite here, and I understand it. He's coming off a lot of wins. He's in front of another fighter who is a striker, and he's done well against him, but man, MVP is so hard to hit. He's so hard to hit. I just don't know if I can pick against him. It's hard for me to pick him against a fucking striker, man. Because you see it in the Ian Gary. Ian Gary thought he was going to be fast enough. Nope. Holland thought he was going to be able to deal with it. No. The dude, you just can't figure him out. Oh, man, it's a tough fight. It's a tough fight. I'm going to lean MVP, man, early, all right? Nothing official, but I think MVP is just so tough to catch. I just think he'll get it done. Maybe via a decision. So I'll go with MVP for my early pick. The main event of the evening. Now, I've already broken this fight down previously via like a way earlier one, but I am going to do it again. This is before film, of course. I've said it a million times. I don't know why I keep saying it, but I really am a fan of Nasruddin Imavov's skill set. I love his skill set. One issue that he's had in the past is cardio, and that could be something that haunts him here, because he is fighting in a 5-round fight, and he's fighting in a 5-round fight against a guy who is comfortable fighting in a 5-round fight, right? Last time we saw Imavov go 5, I believe it was versus Dolidze, where Dolidze didn't really press the action. It was just Imavov beating the hell out of him. And another 5-rounder, Strickland, kind of got to him, man, with the pressure. He eventually took Imavov down. And now he's in front of a guy like Adesanya who hasn't been the best, right? I mean, he's lost 2. He lost to Strickland, lost to DDP, but in that DDP fight, man, he looked on fire. He looked good there. It's the best version I've seen in a long time, right? I truly do believe that. And Imavov is a guy who does have a little bit of wrestling, and maybe he could use it versus Adesanya, but he is a guy who's going to probably be on the feet for the most part. And I do think that early on he is going to be the faster guy, the faster striker, the more in and out, quicker guy. But man, I just can't knock how Adesanya looked in his last one. I thought he looked really, really good. Throwing great combinations of the body. The jab was on point. He was doing a really, really good job. And before the finish, I thought it was a pretty close fight, but I thought DDP was up. But man, he looked solid. He looked tough. And I think he'll get this one done. I still, I don't know, man. It's a tough one, because I am a fan of Imavov's game. I like his slick style, in and out, good footwork. Good defense, doesn't get hit often. Man, I am going to go with Adesanya, though. He's got a ton. I mean, the dude's got so much kickboxing experience. Age is catching up to him a little bit in some sense, but he really did look on fire in his last performance. I think there's going to be a fire under his ass to go out there and beat Nasruddin Imavov, and I think he will get this one done. Look, man, that's going to end it for me. I hope y'all boys enjoyed. I'm going to keep trying to upload, every single day. I'm going to do my best. And, I'll catch y'all in the next one.